This is Spencer, your Tampa Bay wallpaper installer. Coming from St. Pete, Florida, installing a Schumacher hand-painted wall covering. And here's what it is. If you can't tell by the design, these are monkeys, okay? They had to tell me what it was because I couldn't figure it out. But these are monkeys, and this is a hand print. These are hand painted on. So naturally speaking, you're going to have slight imperfections in the pattern, which we've identified. But that's not why I made this video. This is going to be the most difficult wallpaper that the new wallpaper installer will ever handle. And if this is your situation, I would call a professional, because time is of the essence when you're hanging this paper. You will find that you have to work quickly, because as you're working, the glue is drying. The edges, the lead edge always has to be pulled off, but it has glue on it. And that's a whole new video. That's a whole different video. So work quickly with this. That's one thing. Number one is that you have to work quickly because you're working on one edge right down here. This edge has got to be trimmed here. But also the other edge is drying and it's setting up against the wall, but it's going to be pulled off because this is an overlap and cut wall covering. It's like a draft. If you've ever seen a draft on a commercial build out, they open it up. It's like a scroll. That's what I compare this wallpaper to. This should come like on a scroll, because the edges, see these edges? See this stuff? Look who did this. Joe Martin. Designed by, he actually designed it. Designed by Joe Martin. Can you see this in the paper? Okay. Joe Martin handprint pattern, Patterson Fabrics, New York. Okay. So that's obviously going to get cut off. And so you see this straight edge here? Well, the pattern has to be matched up from the right-hand side of it, which isn't here yet. But this one is, and that's what I want to show you. So look, we have a nice little small area to work with. My glue is nice and wet. There's no chance of it drying up anytime soon. And so I want to show you what's going on here. You have to match this with what's under here. How do you do it? How are you going to match what's here with what's under here? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is that you can put your paper on a wallpaper table and simply cut off the excess without violating the overlap. You can do that so you can have a better idea of what's going on here. But that's still not going to show you the overlap. You could trim it down so that you could see better. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And it's very primitive. The method of installation for this is exactly what you might have thought of in your mind. There's only one way to do it. And it's somewhat primitive. And that's why I don't care for this method of installation. But in order to hang the paper, there's only one way to really do it. And that is to go with what they give you. Watch this. Watch this. Do you see what I'm doing there? What I'm doing, you ever take a book and you drew a face on it, and every other page you make a little more of a smile, and then as you flip through the pages, it looks like it's an animated thing? It's called the flip book technique, and that's how you're going to match your pattern. So let me put you stationary and do this for you so that you understand what I'm talking about, because I don't want this to become your worst nightmare, okay? You're going to come down to where I'm working, and we're going to do this together, okay? Now watch this. You have to look closely. Now just take my word for it. I'm going to point a couple of things out. You may not see it up close. Look at the edge of my blade. Now, what I'm pointing out is what I'm calling an upside down backwards B, okay? And this one that I'm pointing out right now is sort of like a backwards L. And it's lost its definition as I keep doing this pattern. The pattern is not perfectly consistent, but it's generally consistent, okay? And that's what the beauty of this hand-painted stuff is. So, please, I'm getting some nasty comments on my videos. Overly complicated. If you find this overly complicated, then you don't need to watch my video. You already know how to do it. Just simply move on. This is for that housewife breaking her back installing her wallpaper like a good mother, a good wife, trying to figure out how to do these hard things. Or the father who's coming home after working all day. He's trying to figure out how to do it himself because he doesn't have the money to pay somebody. That's what these videos are for, okay? Or for the new installer who never. This is a very. It's not very common for wallpaper. Most wallpaper is edge to edge or overlap. But this particular thing where you're doing this hand printed stuff, is quite unique. Now, we have to align the backwards B. So I'm going to take 2 points, the backwards B, and you see this little thing down here, this little nodule hanging off of this tree. That's what I'm looking at, okay? I'm already seeing that I'm not aligned. Coming around a window is not an easy thing to do. Okay, let's line it up with this backwards B business, okay? And here's how I'm gonna do it. All right, so watch this. I'm gonna take, I don't wanna point it with this, and I don't wanna mar the surface, so I'm gonna just use my fingertip. I'm looking at the backwards B. I'm looking for the corresponding backwards B. Okay. Okay, where is it? Okay, now I've located the counterpart of the one. This is the top sheet, that's the bottom. I've located this backwards L business thing. So here's what I'm gonna do. And this is what you're gonna do. Believe it or not, this is exactly how you're gonna do it. Okay, now watch this. I'm putting my fingertip nail right on the end of, let's call it a backwards L, whatever you wanna call it. Now, if I pull the paper up and I see the same thing exposed, I'm not right over it. It needs to disappear. You understand? And that's the only way I have to know that I'm right over it. So I have 1 point, I'm pulling it up. Okay, see this? This is the flip book method. It's not disappearing, which means I need to move it over 1/8 of an inch from what I just saw. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna move it over. Wow, it just disappeared, but too much, too much. Okay, you understanding what I'm saying here? Look at that, I'm right over it, gorgeous. Look at that, that's beautiful. Okay, folks, I'm right over it. Okay, I'm nailing that down. Okay, now that's in place. Now, let's just make sure the rest of our pattern is secure. Folks, this is not easy. This is not easy, okay? What you're doing here is not an easy task. Lining up this wallpaper. This is one of the more difficult things you're gonna do if you're hanging this wallpaper, okay? So don't get too hard on yourself if you're finding that it's extremely difficult, all right? Don't do that to yourself. This is not easy stuff to hang, this particular pattern, okay? I got misaligned there. Okay, we're back. Beautiful, beautiful. Very nice, very nice. Okay, Okay, now I'm going to nail that down. Do you see how... See, once you have the idea, you understand, okay, you might say, this can't be the way to do it. This is ridiculous. No, that is the way to do it. Okay? That is the way I want you to do it. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. Just like that. Okay? And then you're going to have a beautiful installation because now you know what you're doing. Okay? Do you understand? Like, when I was a young wallpaper hanger, I also had another career. Somebody challenged me on my wallpaper career. I also had another career, which there's no need to get into. But anyway, when I was a young wallpaper hanger, I came across this wallpaper stuff, okay? And I looked at it and I said, how the heck am I going to align this? Common sense kicked in, and I did the flip book method, and then I spoke to a veteran wallpaper hanger who at the time had 40 plus years hanging paper, and I said, hey, when you get the hand printed stuff, how do you, he goes, I flip it over, and I said, so, you know, when we work with things, tools or whatever, you got to think, there was a first time for everything. The way that methods come about is through trial and error. So somebody put a name on it. The flipbook method, he or she was the first person who did it and shared it with everybody else. And how did they do it? They just came up with it themselves. Because there's just no other way to do it. You know, it sort of becomes common sense. But now today, you're looking on YouTube how to do this. And so everybody wants to be everything explained to them, which is understandable. And I'm telling you, you're finding out how to do this simply by somebody else doing it by trial and error. Okay? And so that, let me just show you. I'll actually cut it for you. How's that? Perhaps you came on here to watch the whole thing, which is fine with me. Or perhaps you came onto my channel to get the free trip that I'm offering. I'm offering a free trip that you can come down to Florida and you can help me install my wallpaper, and you get to listen to me during the whole day. I'm joking, but maybe some of you would want to. I don't know. I'm only kidding. I share that with you as a joke. All right. Anyway, let me. No, it is a challenging thing to do, and what the heck? We may as well have a laugh while we're. Now watch this. What you're not seeing here. Let's be serious here. What you're not seeing in this thing is that Schumacher doesn't put their trim marks throughout the entire wallpaper. So what you'll see, this is a strip which was cut off previously above. What you'll see on these types of wall covering, you see this thing where it says join at the bottom. You see this thing? They're giving you an idea, hey, listen, these lines should line up horizontally, and then they give you vertical lines. Same thing, it's called trim. And so they're missing. They're missing here because they don't put it throughout the whole sheet, okay? But the wallpaper hanger knows that they're 1.5 inches from the edge. So this is what you do. You go from the edge 1.5 inches, okay? Or 24/16. And you'll see that it lands right on the green there, okay? Again, we're gonna do one up here. Wow, okay. Very nice. Okay. And so here's another thing you're gonna need. You're gonna need some tools, okay? And I know some of you are new paper hangers, and you know, hey, everybody's gotta learn. Don't be embarrassed that you don't know this. No need to be embarrassed. That's why there are veterans in every trade, and they're here to show you what to do, okay? No, the only ones who should be embarrassed are the idiots who try to do this without knowing what they're doing. And that's foolish. And that's also a very costly mistake, not only on you, the paper hanger, Not only for the money that you're gonna waste, but also, how about the customer who loses the money on, the installation, right? So watch this. I'm just going to show you what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna join these lines. Okay, if you're gonna complain about my taping knife, do me a favor. Just buy me another one and send it to me. How's that? I'll take it. Oh gosh, you see the problem here? I'm telling you, this stuff gets. When I hit 40, and I had to bend my back so much every day, I started appreciating my 20s more so, Okay, I'm gonna start my cut. Okay, now we gotta be consistent. Gotta hold that thing straight. Now, don't take your blade off. Do not take it off. Leave it on. You're overlapping. Your pattern matches up because you're straight, okay? You're straight. Even if you were crooked, it's equally crooked. It's not, this is not crooked, but even if you were crooked, as long as your lines are matching up 1.5 inches away, you're gonna cut over the same thing. Do you understand that? Because your pattern would be square. Okay, and there we have it. All right. So, you see how she matches up? You see how this, you see like it's a palm tree, this complements that knob and all that. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this out. All right, okay. So that's perfectly coming out. And now what I like to do is either spritz it with a water bottle. By wetting it, what you're doing is you're making it more, where it moves. Okay. Now, gotta keep working the seam. Okay, just keep. All right. Now, okay. That is how you install. Whoa, my gosh. I got glue all over my camera. That's how you, this is 17 minutes long already. Actually, we're going into 18. That's how you install that, okay? You see how that looks? Now, I'll just press it down. I'll keep pressing it. Okay, that is a small part. This is a 20-inch drop. I do that for you because I can't stand on the ladder and do the same thing, okay? I share that with you because I want you to know how to install the hand-printed wallpapers with this unique method of hanging, which comes from the manufacturer, these trim lines and these join lines, okay? It's very unique. Don't panic if you should get this. If you're a new paper hanger and you get this in the box, best thing you can do is call the customer and say, I want to see a picture. Send me a picture of the wallpaper. Send me a picture. I always get a copy of the installation instructions because I want to know if it's a clay-based glue. You can't get that stuff that easily anymore. I get mine, I order it, and I have it in stock so that I know if I need a clay-based glue that I have it in stock. So I always want to see what's the adhesive. Is it a 20-ounce wallpaper? What kind of paper is it? Is it type 1 or 2? Whatever. That's something that you have to get used to doing. If you're not an installer and you're doing this at home, this is right up your alley, okay? And I give you ladies a lot of credit out there. My mother taught me how to wallpaper when I was a young teenager. And I'll tell you, if she didn't do it, I would have never known how to do it. And she must have identified something in me that she determined was worthy of her trust in my ability to install wallpaper in our Brooklyn home. In New York, the standards of excellence, I must tell you, are far more demanding than they are outside of New York State. I'll just leave it at that. The standards of excellence wherever you go, especially like in hotels, if you look around a hotel in New York, in a fine hotel, You compare it to a fine hotel elsewhere, and you'll see a qualitative difference immediately. Same thing goes for wallpaper installation. It appears that there is a standard less than excellence in a lot of the things that I've seen, especially commercial installations. So I offer you my services. If you're somebody in the Tampa Bay area who wants an installation, give me a call at 813-666-7002, or you can simply reach me on my website at www.spencercolgan.com. Thanks for watching this long video. If you've made it this far, you've watched the whole thing, subscribe to my channel. Click on like and share it with a friend. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. See you on the next one.